I know this is weird. I'm wearing a McLaren shirt and behind me is a Ferrari 458. And you're right, I am a McLaren guy, but I gotta ask the question, did I buy the wrong car when I bought my 12C? A bunch of people said you should buy a 458. So, should I have bought a 458? Well, I found out because I rented one. So, obviously, if you can't tell, I'm not in South Carolina. I am actually in Southern California. And I got this car from Drive the Dream. And I picked this rental up for the day. Got a phenomenal deal on it because I wanted the experience to find out, am I missing out on a 458? They are comparable in spec from the factory. Obviously, mine is modified, so there's a difference there. But these are very comparable cars. In 2012, when both of them debuted, people said that the Ferrari was the better car. People said the McLaren is the better performing car, the faster car. And I will say it is. Now, mine is modified, so mine is quite a bit faster than this. But even a stock one is faster than this. The actual driving experience is very, very different. This car, you've got to be above 6,000 RPM before you really feel any of that power. And it doesn't come in nearly as soon or nearly as strong as the McLaren does. And then mine being modified, you can do a tune on it. So you can spend $4,000 with me on emfautos.com and it makes it that much faster. We're talking 100 horsepower gain, like 125, 150 foot-pounds of torque. And that is a huge difference over this. And all your power comes in way faster. So your mid-range power is much, much different between this car and a 12C. So what is different? Well, on the 458, you can see the engine just like the 12C, though you can see a little bit better what you got going on. That's one complaint people have about modern McLarens, but this one, you can see it. It is a phenomenally sounding engine. It sounds great. Now, this one does have an aftermarket exhaust as well, so that's a consideration. Styling-wise, it looks great. Nobody will argue that this thing does not look fantastic. I might argue that this does look a little bit better than the 12C, but in terms of performance, I don't think it stacks up. On the interior, we've got big old flappy paddles that stay on the column. This one is up, this one is down. On the McLaren, you can do both on both sides and they move together. And they're a little bit smaller, but they move with the steering wheel. This one stays with the column. That's something to get used to. I particularly like the McLaren sticking to the steering wheel. Some say you don't always know where it is unless you have something like this, but I do know where it is on the steering wheel. I found myself trying to shift while turning the wheel and I didn't know where it was, but it's always with the steering wheel on the McLaren, so I like that. All of the infotainment, that kind of thing, it's all on these screens. So I don't really care for that. The backup screen is right in here, and I do like that. It works very well. I do like that. And as bad as the Iris One system is in the McLaren, I still kind of like it better than this. Interior styling, you know, that's all subject to desire. There's plenty of carbon fiber in this one, but you can actually see the sticky buttons already happening. This whole interior, sticky buttons is real. Yeah, it's happening on this one. And it's not just this car. The car's in fantastic shape. It's got 12,000 miles on it. It's all of these. It's not just this rental. It's not if you don't take care of it. It's all of them. While you're driving, what is the difference? Well, this one, the suspension is much more rough. If you take an MP4 12C or a 650 or 675, you put it in track mode, and I think it's still just a little bit smoother than this driving all the time. If you drive it in sport or normal on the McLaren, it is way smoother. So if you're driving on a rough road that's nice and windy, which we did, it is a very, very different experience. It's a lot more comfortable. It's a lot more calming. Everything is more predictable. In steering, when you start to get to the edge of losing it, you can tell it's there. On this, it's kind of jittery. And we actually had to take a lot of air out of the tires after driving it for a little bit. And then just normal driving, now it says we're low. We got the tires way, way, way hot very easy, particularly on the front. Driving on that road, and it is pretty hot out. It's maybe around 90 degrees outside, but it is a very, very different experience. This one, I feel like you can lose it very quickly. Everything's great until it's not, and it is a very precise feel. The car is very well balanced. It handles very, very well. There is no doubt about that. But I think the McLaren is just a little bit better at that. It's definitely more comfortable. Seats are more comfortable. Ride quality is more comfortable. Everything about it is more comfortable, and it's way faster. So I think it is a better performer. And if you want to daily drive one, it's definitely a better option. Did I make a mistake not getting a prancing horse? I don't think I did. I think it's still the best value. I think it was the best value at the time. It's a way better car. This is a fantastic car, don't get me wrong. If you have one, you love it, great. If you want to be seen in it, you want to say, I have a Ferrari, it does that. If you want a real driving, better experience, the McLaren is the better way to go. You may feel differently if you drive one, but I drove this one pretty hard in canyon roads, and I've driven a lot of miles, tens of thousands of miles in my McLaren, and I will say the McLaren is just a better experience. So you may disagree. If you do, put it in the comments, tell me why. If you think I'm right and you've driven one of these, shoot a little message in there. Let me know what you thought in comparison. If you also find it irritating that on the Ferrari you have an actual key that you have to stick in the ignition and then push the button to start it, and then your turn signals are on the steering wheel for some reason instead of a stock, it's kind of weird. It's goofy to get used to. I don't particularly care for that. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Watch all the other DIY videos. If you have any other comments on this car, the McLaren, the 458, if you've had one, or maybe a 488, or whatever, drop some comments below. And that guy, and I'll see you in the next one.